Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Doing great. Just broke my fast with a few olives, which is nice. A bit of a shake as well.
I watched.
Yeah, it was nice. How was it for you?
Not enjoyable.
As good for you as it was
At
for
all.
me. um. So anyway, let's dive in because I want to dive into one of the questions the men posted in the Facebook group. So for you guys that don't know, we asked the men in the Facebook group if there were any questions or topics that they would like us to cover on upcoming podcasts. And a shout out to all you guys that commented on there. We are going to get through all of these, not all of them right now. We are going to, break them down in over some episodes that we're going to release shortly. So if you want anything in particular addressing, that's a really great resource for you guys to go and use. So that's over in the Facebook group. You'll see the post. Guys, keep adding comments, questions, which is great. And just know that we will get to them. There are quite a lot of them on there, so it may take us, a few weeks to get through them all. But anyway, the question here, Doug, is from a Mr. Derek. And his question is, when we get stuck in a funk where we just can't seem to fill our cups, no matter how much we try, we stick into our routines, focusing on ourselves, but we just can't fill our cups. He says he's currently working on pulling himself out of this rut. In messaging one of the other guys this morning, he finally figured out somehow he ended up back in the feminine role again. And this is what he realized he's been unknowingly keeping him down. So it's like the natural order of him being back in his masculine is making him feel better. So let's dive into that. Do you want to go first?
Happy to. Well, I'm hearing a couple of things here from him. One is he's having a hard time filling his own cup. Two, he's slipping back into the feminine or beta role in his marriage, I assume, in this case. And it's really common, right? When we talk about bell-shaped curve, so to speak, most women prefer to be in their feminine, and most men naturally fall into their masculine. However, society has really crippled, I guess would be the word I would use, the idea or the ability for a man to be in his masculine nature, right? A lot. You look at movies and things like that. There's a lot of, almost criminalization of masculinity here. And the reason being is masculine men are made out to be criminals. They're made out to be guys that beat their wives, all of these things. And it's not the case, right? It's just not the case. And it's not this guy's fault because most of us, at least me, and I know you, Tim, and other guys of the program, is we've been taught by society and our parents or whatever that, you respect women, which you should. And you're supposed to be treated a certain way. And we've dimmed our light, so to speak, in order to do so. And so it sounds to me like this guy has as well. He's gotten married, right? Presumably he loves his wife. That's why one of the reasons he married her. And along the way, he's fallen into the nice guy trap of just being a nice guy and trying to please her, trying to probably please a lot of people around him. Going, okay, yeah, I got this. And I think what happens to a lot of us is, and I was talking to one of the guys in the inner circle about this the other day, our 1-year mastermind program. And I asked him, I said, look, my guess is, because he had something similar to what Derek, I think it was Derek, is saying here. I said, look, my guess is you're like me. My guess is when somebody needs help, you're there. You're like, yep, I got it. And when your plate's full and they need your help, you kind of go, yep, I can do it, right? Because you're so strong, Derek, you can take that weight onto your shoulders. You can do it. And when we do that, eventually that weight drains us. It collapses us. And then we end up going to the person we're closest to, the person we love, the person we've committed to, which is our wife, and for most of everybody. And we ask for help, right? We just want them to hold us, right? And refill our cup and be like, it's okay. You're so amazing. I can't believe you run a business and you're doing this and you're helping this person and you help me out. And when there's a spider, you crush it, or all of these things. And we're going, great. And when I need you, I expect, my wife to fill my cup. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. And I was talking to the guy by the inner circle about this. And I go, I'm guessing you've done this for a long time because you're strong, because you can do more than most people, because you're a leader. And he said, yeah, that's right. And it's because that constant saying yes, and for Derek, and not saying yes to himself first, that he becomes drained. And when he becomes drained, he'll instantly slip back into the beta role. Now, when you flip this over, you change the direction, it all changes. And that's one of the things we teach in the activation method, right? Which is our 8-week program for guys, our coaching program. So in the activation method, we teach guys, look, take yourself first, take care of yourself first. Just like on an airplane, right? I'm flying here in a little bit. And, if I get in the airplane, if there's too much turbulence or cabin pressure is an issue, what do they say to do, guys? Everybody knows this. Put your mask on yourself first. The reason you do that is so then you can help other people. Then you can go around and help all the people around you. When you put the masks on the people next to you, you pass out. They might be okay, but yeah, you are stronger. You are stronger probably than most everybody else, Derek. And therefore, you passing out is a bad thing because you could have helped everybody on the plane, perhaps. So guys, you got to put your mask on first. So for you, Derek, what I would suggest doing, and I had to do this a couple of years ago again, Tim, is make a list of those things that fill your cup. And if you're like me, man, that was a tough list to make. I was like, I like snowboarding. I'm going to go snowboarding once a week for 90 days. I had the opportunity to do. I had lifestyle and everything else. But that was an excuse. I had one thing that maybe would work. And it was because I was so busy taking care of other people, coaching, filling everybody else's cup, my wife, my kids, family, friends. And I lost those things that fill my cup. So Derek, first thing is start making a list of what is it that you want? What is it you want to do in this life? What is it that you want to get out of this life? What are the things that do fill your cup? Do you have a morning routine? It's a great way to start, right? It's a catalyst for your day. Otherwise, you spend the rest of your day just chasing your tail, catching up. And that's not sexy. That's beta. Right? You don't want to be there. And then once you've got your list, start doing it. Start doing it. You will naturally fall more into an alpha role in your relationship because there's nothing sexier to a woman than a man who's going after his. Right? Body is sexy, right? All women want a guy that looks good. But what trumps that every time, this is why you'll see guys who are not as attractive with a woman who's way out of their league, so to speak. But if they're going for what they want in this world, they're going for life. As a woman says, and excuse my language, guys, here for some of you. So if you have kids, put earmuffs on. But there's a woman that's out there named Kim Amami, and she teaches sexual mastery for women and for men. But her specialty is for women. But she does talk about this. This is what women want. Women want a man who's bending the world over and fucking it. And what she means by that is they want a man who's going after theirs. They want a man who's being decisive. They want a man who's playing a bigger game. They don't want the guy that's on the fence, hemming and hawing. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go on this trip? Should I not? What do you think? How should I do this? That's a beta role. They want a guy that's going, I'm going after this. I'm going to grow this business to 10 million and then they do it. They don't just talk about it. Or I'm going to go to the gym and do it. Not, should I go to the gym? Do you think I should do kickboxing or Pilates? Nah. They want a guy that's going for it and putting themselves first. And the reason they want you, Derek, to put yourself first is because if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of her? Sure, she wants you to take out the trash. Sure, she wants all those things. We all do, right? Who doesn't want a maid? But she'd rather have a man. But if she can't have a man, I'll take a maid. I'll take a servant. I'll take a beta for now.
Wow. Lots to unpack there. Yeah. A lot of great advice. So I'm going to come at this from a different perspective, because I think what you said there was spot on, Doug. So I know that you mentioned something about sticking to routines and focusing on yourself, but you're not filling your cup. So it sounds like you're doing some of what Doug mentioned, which is awesome. But it's not landing is the angle I'm going to take, because some guys do, right? Some guys are doing the routine. Some guys do have their alpha rise and shine in place. Some guys are ticking the boxes, let's say. But that's as far as it gets. They are ticking the boxes. And sometimes one of two things happens for the men. Well, a few things can happen for the men in this spot. One is that they're actually doing things that are meaningful. They're doing their routines and they're doing things they love, but it's just not landing for them. Like I said a moment ago, that is more of a worthiness conversation. For whatever reason, it's kind of like when you get the big windfall at work. For some reason, you still feel like a failure. It still doesn't feel like it's enough, despite having a record month in the business. And you just hit your weight in the gym. You've hit a personal best, but for some reason, it doesn't land, right? That can sometimes happen for men. And that can either be that they're living too fast and too hard, and the pace of life is just too quick. They don't have enough time to just be, either in inquiry with themselves or in nature or in reflection. So they don't have any moments to actually reflect on their wins and let them stack and let them land for them, which by default means they're doing all the right things but feel empty. Or they just don't feel worthy of having the life that they see for themselves, which again is a different conversation. And the second piece to this about you just can't seem to fill your cup, but you're ticking the boxes, is some guys, and I don't know if this is you or not, pretend like they're doing all the right things because they are ticking the boxes, because they're doing their rise and shine, because they're doing the decompression, because they're going through the hidden motives technique. But it's just become boring. It's just become mundane. It's just become, routine. There's no excitement. It doesn't have the same level of excitement as it had when you first started doing these things. Now, part of that is just suck it up and be disciplined, right? Success for the most part, or for some of the part, isn't always sexy. It can be quite boring. You figure out what works and you do it and 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 do it, right? It's kind of like Roger Federer. How the hell does that guy stay at the top of his game for 20 years? Right? Still training in between tournaments, coming back from injury after injury after injury, right? Learning to deal with the monotony of success, right? But it does it. So part of it is discipline. But on the flip side of that, the discipline, as long as you're not chasing the shiny object and becoming distracted, it may just be time to change up your routine. Change up what you do with your alpha rise and shine. Change up how you do your decompression. Change up how you validate and use the hidden motives technique, right? Maybe become more playful with it. Maybe do it a different way. Maybe, whatever. Add a little bit of spice to it, right? And the third part about this that you're saying, you just can't fill your cup, but you're doing the things, or you're doing all the right things, so to speak, is if there's a misalignment, right? Like Doug was touching about with the masculine, you might be doing these things, but maybe you're half-assing them. You're not bringing that fullness, that power to them in the way that you can, which by default means you're not bringing it to yourself, which guess what? You're not bringing it to your relationship either. And if you're then falling into the beta role, like Doug is saying, there's going to be two conversations in your head. One of them will say, hey, I'm doing all the right things. What's going on? But the other one will be saying, no, you're not really, because you are people-pleasing here, or you're self-sacrificing there, or you've been a beta there. And you'll be torn, essentially. You get to bridge that gap by, again, being serious with yourself, being real with yourself about the level that you're really playing at. So a lot for you to unpack here, Derek. If I were you, I'd go back and write this down, the main points that Doug was talking about in masculine, and taking charge and putting yourself first and not falling into the beta role. All those great points. I'll let him summarize in a moment if there's anything for him to add. Then the points on receiving, right? Are you having moments to reflect where you're letting your wins land? Are you really bringing the fullness to your routines and having some excitement with them whilst also still being disciplined? And are you really in alignment with being in the masculine, right? So write these down and then just reflect. Are you doing them or not? Because, the routines are great, right? And it's who you are within them. It's not enough to just do the routine. If you want to have the kind of sex where you guys just can't wait to get each other's clothes off, where it's passionate and spontaneous and there's that charge to it, well, guess what? That's usually a reflection of how you live your life. Hence, women want a man that's going to bend the world over and fuck it.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. The last thing I'll add here, Tim, is because I know a lot of guys are in this space, right, of where they fall into this, what we call the beta trap, right? They fall into this nice guy mode. Is the next time you start doing something, right? You're doing something around the house or what have you, ask yourself why. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because this is a role I agreed to as a partner? Okay, great. The answer is yes. Is this, I'm doing this because I want to do it? Okay, do it. Yes. But when you answer, I'm doing this to please my wife, I'm doing this to get something in return, right? Sex, acknowledgement, whatever it may be, that's the time you don't do it. That's the wrong reason to do it. Don't just do it to be the nice guy. I'm not saying you don't do chores around your house. I do a lot of them. I'm not just saying you don't do things to help your wife out. I do a lot of it. Love it, by the way. But if I'm find myself doing something because I'm going to get that attaboy, or, oh, you're so amazing, or it's going to make my wife happy, so therefore, I'm going to get laid. That's the wrong reason, right? I'm doing something transactional there, and that's a beta role to fall into. So guys, keep these questions coming, guys. As Tim said, we are going to knock out each and every one of these. Not all today, but we're going to get through these, guys, and answer your questions live for us, but obviously pre-recorded for you. So you can go back and watch them on YouTube if you want to see Tim's inflections and his hand gestures going through there. I recommend it highly. Or you can listen to this on your favorite podcast player, wherever that may be, where you're getting this now. Completely up to you. But what I want you guys to do is, that we always say, is take action, take insight, right? Maybe there's one, maybe there's 100 things that you got out of this podcast, but whatever it is, write it down and then circle the one that's most important and take action now, not tomorrow, but now, and take massive action. Gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.